Major League Baseball announces the spring breakout. It will help bring fans closer to future stars, but will it pay off for Major League Baseball in the future? The Boston Red Sox step in to help out the Pittsburgh Pirates for clarity in the ongoing battle with their local regional sports network. Dean Blandino tells AwfulAnnouncing.com that he says that referees in the NFL have been approached to manipulate the outcome of games for sports wagering. And the ongoing battle over college athlete transfers continues. What do we make about the new court ruling? Simple. Don't ask the NCAA. It's time for another live edition of Press Row here on the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network, going live right now.
Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Hello, everybody, and happy Thursday afternoon, and welcome into the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network, kicking off another C2C double and or triple header of coverage today here on this Thursday afternoon, December 14th, 2023, entering the home stretch of the year. We'll have, folks, some program alerts for you as we do, in fact, near the holiday season in about a week or so, but that'll be coming later on in tonight's program. Of course, folks, yours truly, Callan McClurg, joining you here from the home studios in San Diego, again here on Press Row, covering all the angles of the biggest sports news of the day, but from the sports media and sports business perspective here this afternoon. Again, hoping that you and yours are having a terrific Thursday here as we get ourselves off the ground and running. Of course, folks, we invite your input live here, as always, in regards to questions, comments, or concerns. Again, give us your thoughts on all things going on in the sports world, and we'll do our absolute best to make sure that is read live on the air here this afternoon at this rate. But once again, folks, it is a great Thursday here in San Diego. Again, hoping everyone is doing well here today. But again, everyone, once more, let's quickly, though, folks, get to a quick program alert for you real quick here before we get ourselves off the ground here and actually off and running here this afternoon. But, folks, our final episode of a live stream Press Row will come your way next Monday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. Then we'll be taking a very extended holiday break. Also, to the fact I'll be working for a good chunk of the week before the Christmas holiday. So we'll have a couple of best of episodes in the 3:30 time slot. Wednesdays, or Monday, or on Wednesday and Thursday next week, I should say. We will be here live, though, for you on Monday next week, but we will be off the air, though, Wednesday and Thursday due to accommodating my work schedule. But also, we'll have a couple of fill-in episodes, or re-airing of episodes, I should say, on next Wednesday and Thursday back here on C2C. With that, folks, we'll move on and get off the ground and running here with a brand new announcement by Major League Baseball made earlier on Wednesday that came out today. The spring breakout will bring fans closer to future MLB superstars, but will this actually pay off? A newly formed spring training event to feature squads of top MLB prospects. The league is also continuing its attempts to build deeper bonds between fans and future big league stars. Reports come in and confirmed and written out by Eric Fisher of Front Office Sports indicate that MLB has made another big move in their efforts to get fans invested in its stars before they become stars. The league announced plans on Wednesday for a new event called Spring Breakout, a 4-day spring training showcase during which every Major League Baseball team will field a squad of its top prospects and play a series of exhibition games against each other. 12 of those spring breakout games will be paired with MLB with league-wide exhibitions to form double headers in Arizona and in Florida. The spring breakout games themselves will be combined with autograph sessions and other opportunities for fans to meet the minor league players. Many of the games will also be broadcast on league platforms, including both MLB.com and also via MLB Network. Baseball has long been challenged in this area, given the relatively low profile of college baseball and several years of minor league play, typically required of most of the big league prospects. These factors forge a very different dynamic than that in football or even basketball, where top players enjoy prominent TV exposure in college, then immediately jump to the NFL or the NBA. But could this also have a bit of a domino effect? The new event is a continuation of related efforts, such as a recent elevation in the production value of the MLB draft, an additional focus on the annual All-Star Futures game that takes place roughly a day or two before the league-wide All-Star game. In every instance, the league is attempting to bridge the development time required of most prospects and build fan affinity at an earlier stage. League Commissioner Rob Manfred told sources, Spring Breakout will provide a new opportunity to showcase the future stars of the game as they continue on their journey to the major leagues. Open and close quote. I love ambitious plans, but also in a sport like baseball, folks, like it was mentioned, it is really hard if you are not a number one top prospect to really crack the major league roster, where you basically fiddle away a lot of long years, or a lot of years, I should say, are spent in the minor leagues. Low A, high A, rookie ball, double A, and then, of course, you get on the cusp of being in triple A. That is where I think that this event begins to kind of, in a way, help, I would say, in regards to getting fans closer to minor leaguers. And also, I think that this helps gauge interest in spring training. I have always wanted to go back to spring training in Arizona, but with my work schedule in the spring, February and March, it usually never lines up. And I think that the other beauty, though, of the minor leagues, though, is the fact that the California League has stood the test of time in single A ball, and we can literally go up from San Diego up Interstate 15 to Lake Elsinore and watch Padres single A players playing against Inland Empire, Rancho Cucamonga, Modesto, San Jose, Visalia, you name it. And that is very good. But it's not quite on the same level, I would say, as what the league is planning here with this spring breakout. Again, roughly 12 games, roughly where all 30 clubs compile their top prospects, though. And also, I think, this is also a great way, other than like the fan engagement, a great way, though, for fans of the major league teams like San Diego or the Dodgers, Angels, or insert your favorite team name here. This is a great way, though, to see like who's in the pipeline, because once they hit double A or triple A, you probably lose their trail of how they're doing. Because I recall plenty of times when the Padres are going to see the Storm play, I should say, in Lake Elsinore, like keeping tabs on like a Robert Hassel III, a James Wood, a Jackson Merrill, Travis Jankowski, players like that who were in the Padre farm system at one point in time in their careers, that once they kind of leave your market and go to double A or go to triple A, you almost lose the trail of where they're at, because maybe minor league games aren't as accessible as the major league product is, where you have to, again, buy another subscription package to the minor league baseball networks, or you hear updates via Twitter, or you see highlights on Instagram or on YouTube or Facebook or whatnot. That this now begins to bridge the gap, I think, where fans can now not necessarily relate with these players, but get to know them and like what they're all about before they become a future big league superstar. And also the fact that goes along with spring training. I know for a fact, though, that I have family who lives in the greater Phoenix area. They absolutely love when spring training rolls around, not because of the economic impact, though, it brings, though, to the greater Phoenix metro area, But the best part, though, is when you're able to go to a game in the afternoon and then go to a game in the evening at like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, though, once you get later and later into the season for spring training, though, that's the best part. And again, like wins and losses here don't matter. But also, I think it's more of a thing, though, that baseball wants their players to be relevant because of the long haul that it takes for a lot of these guys to get to the major league level. I also know that Brandon and Tim even said on Rankum on Tuesday morning that high school players should be probably not really exempt from the draft, but that there should be, that they can be drafted, but that they have to at least go through college. I would absolutely agree with that because there's a lot of factors. Maturity level is a thing. 18-year-old kids going already on the road away from home is a huge factor as well. But also, I think it's more that baseball wants to give these young budding prospects like their due diligence. And I think this is a good starting point, though. Again, we've heard a lot about Jackson Holliday with the Orioles. There's been a lot of talk here about Jackson Merrill with the Padres, a couple of their pitchers who won awards in AA or AAA last season. And that this is a new opportunity, though. And I mainly look at it, though, just because once the player is in the system, who knows how long it'll take them to get into the majors. You know, I mean, we hear a lot of these great stories, though, folks, about players who spend a decade, if not more, in the minors, just waiting for that one chance, though, and it finally comes. And the best part I love about when a guy gets called up is when their family is there. You know, mom and dad show up, brothers and sisters show up, friends who they have known their whole lives show up, and they get that special moment, though, like in the spotlight. Like, hey, after all these years of the hard work and sacrifice and blood, sweat, and tears, I finally made it. But I absolutely love the concept. 4-day spring training event, showcase event, which all 30 clubs field a squad of their top prospects and play exhibition games against each other. And 12 of those games are paired with exhibition games that are going on in the spring to formulate a doubleheader. I also love the fact that they're going to let the fans kind of engage with these guys as well, with autograph sessions and photo chances and other chances to meet the players. Many of the games will also be broadcast on league-wide platforms like MLB.com and the network. That's great. That is really good, I think, because now, again, you're exposing these potential future franchise cornerstones maybe into the limelight already, where, again, this could take a long time for these guys to get from where they're at right now in the minor league pipeline to the big league organization. So I love the concept. And again, I think this could be like the NBA season tournament. This is great. And again, after year one, you can certainly tweak this. Make it a week-long ordeal maybe. You know, like week-long, 16, 18, 20 games maybe. And again, showcasing the best talent that all 30 clubs have to offer. And also, I think it's more of an onus, though, that Major League Baseball also, I kind of feel like they're trying to repair their relationship with MILB, who today unveiled their new logo and branding today. There is talk that the Oklahoma City Dodgers will not be called the Dodgers after this upcoming season. They're going to be called the OKC Baseball Club before they unveil a new logo and branding. But part of me does feel like, though, with what we had seen happen about 3 years ago, with Major League Baseball coming in and cutting out a lot of teams, like the Lancaster Jethawks and the Hudson Valley Crosscutters, I think, were also knocked out of the minor league pipeline. This is also like an olive branch being extended by MLB to the minor leagues. Like, hey, we know we screwed up, but we're trying to get you guys or give you guys more airtime, more publicity, and here's what we have to offer right now. So it certainly is a thing, though, that I believe will work. But also, it's almost like that long apology for, hey, we screwed up, we dropped the ball. Here's our, here's like our concession prize, consolation prize, 4-day showcase of the best minor leaguers with all 30 clubs playing a series of exhibition games during the course of the spring training season in Arizona and in Florida. This is a win-win, I think, though, right now, but also this can be tweaked and adjusted to make this work out one way or another, where MLB will, again, get these young kids who are in the pipeline more television time and exposure to the fan bases. On the media side, folks, the ongoing woes of regional sports networks have come to a somewhat major crossroads here recently, but a very interesting, but also very cool, I'd say. Story also came out today on Thursday as the Boston Red Sox and their parent team have teamed up with the Pittsburgh Pirates for further clarity in the RSN issues plaguing the Pirates right now, and even the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Fenway Sports Group does also own right now. This story coming in from FOS and from Eric Fisher as well. Currently, 11 Major League Baseball teams are still working through open questions surrounding their local media right deals with Diamond Sports Group's ongoing bankruptcy and the effects of that on player payroll. The Pittsburgh Pirates have found critical clarity and also some much-needed revenue. The small market Pirate Club has cleared a deal with the Pittsburgh Penguins to become part owner of Sportsnet Pittsburgh, and the Pirates will still be shown on a regional sports network. This agreement was always a logical outcome, but had faced much uncertainty. Sportsnet Pittsburgh has gone through their own transitional gaps, having been acquired earlier this year by the Penguins' parent owner, the Fenway Sports Group, and the expiration of the Pirates' prior deal ended in 2023 at the end of the season. Terms were not disclosed financially, but the pact, though, which takes effect on New Year's Day, is described, though, as a multi-year deal, and FSG's New England Sports Network, or NESN, will still continue to manage daily operations of Sportsnet Pittsburgh, with the RSN will again have a year-round portfolio of major teams with both the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Had the deal not been consummated and completed, the Pirates were candidates to have their local games produced and distributed by MLB, much like the Padres and Arizona Diamondbacks. Aiding this deal and agreement was an existing relationship between FSG principal owner John Henry and Pirates owner Bob Nutting. The new pact does also create a unique situation in which the parent organization of the Red Sox will be overseeing local TV deals of another major league ball club. However, this is not being seen, though, as a conflict of interest. You can't view this as a COI. Though I know it's two major league teams, though, being, a part of this new pact for television. However, this is a great bone being thrown, the way of this big market ball club in the Boston Red Sox to a low-budget franchise, small market team in the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I think the fact that the Penguins already having that deal with the Red Sox ownership group and FSG helps out here dramatically, because this saves a franchise from perhaps resorting to what we have seen being done with teams going back to local over-the-air stations. Again, we talked about the Suns and Jazz with what they've done recently over the past couple of episodes when we talk about media deals. But this is great, though, that the Pirates will not have to worry about anything with television. And hopefully that maybe some of the money being injected by the Red Sox and FSG maybe helps the Pirates' payroll. Because I know I talked here a little bit at one point about how the Padres had to pull up that $50 million loan due to the nature of the Bally Sports San Diego contract floundering and going under back in May of this year. I don't see, though, how this is not going to be sustainable. Meaning about other teams, though, who may face the same similar issues. So more than anything else right now this is great for Pittsburgh. It's great for the Pirates because they don't have to worry about over-the-air stuff. By the way, real quick, a quote from Pirates president Travis Williams to FOS reads the following. From the outset of this process, the most important thing to us was to ensure that our fans have the same level of access to Pirate games and telecasts and the same high-quality production that they already enjoy today. And this agreement accomplishes that, open and close quote. And it does that because now that we're entering like a new wave of how sports are being viewed on television, because people don't want to fork out the 3 figures plus for a cable package, with more games going to streaming platforms, again, like Thursday Night Football tonight between the Raiders and Chargers on Amazon Prime Video, that this is more of a payroll thing that we're looking at here because of what the Padres went through last season when Arizona lost their rights, the rumors of the Rangers perhaps losing their rights after next season, that it might have to take, honestly, that despite teams not being, nice on the field, or they're being, them being rivals maybe. But honestly, sadly, for baseball right now with TV, there might be more of these things that come out though, like the Red Sox and Pirates perhaps form some sort of alliance here to keep games on TV. Padres and Angels maybe become a thing. Again, I'm just kind of spitballing here, but right now there's no clarity. And if I'm a major league franchise right now, other than San Diego, Arizona, and even Pittsburgh now, if I'm one of these 11 teams who is facing this uphill battle right now because I don't know what is going to happen with our local television rights, I begin to kind of worry. And I also begin looking at plans B, C, and D and plans X, Y, and Z. Though I know that Major League Baseball it says, hey, if it comes to this where like everyone that's on Bally loses their rights, we're game for this. I do kind of begin to wonder, like, can they actually pull this off in regards to how they pulled it off with the Padres? Very, very, very well done. Seamless transition going from Bally Sports San Diego to the MLB stations on either Channel 4 or Channel 305 here locally. Same with Arizona. But I also still believe, though, that the domino effect right now that we've been seeing, and again, I think I said this on a press a couple of weeks ago here. The thing I've noticed when the LA Clippers cannot be on Bally Sports San Diego, either with Anaheim Ducks commitments or other commitments that they have gone to KTLA Channel 5 in Los Angeles. But with there being no NBA franchise in San Diego where the Lakers and Clippers, Ducks and Kings can air their games free without worrying about blackouts down here, unlike the Dodgers and Angels, those games that the Clippers play on KTLA have been picked up here locally in San Diego by KSWB Fox 5 and KUSI San Diego Channel 9. So I'm beginning to wonder more and more, though, if this becomes a bigger thing. The Clippers on KTLA when they can't be on Bally Sports SoCal. The Suns going to 3 locally owned stations on Gray Television in Phoenix. The Jazz going that route with either 1 or 2 stations in Salt Lake City. The Golden Knights going to Scripps Sports along with the Coyotes. I think that right now that Major League Baseball really has to look at what's gone on recently with the NHL and the NBA, that they may have to start telling teams, you have to begin looking at other avenues. Reach out to your local Fox affiliate, CBS affiliate, NBC, ABC, begin looking elsewhere, because I do think that there's a cliff out there that baseball has said that, hey, we're ready to go with this. Part of me, though, does worry that maybe that they can't pull off a thing like this, where it may have to become an ordeal, like the Red Sox helping out the Pirates, that teams begin to kind of, in a way, form media alliances where they basically say, hey, we'll pump in money to keep your network afloat and keep your games on television so your fan base is not left in the dark. I'd love to see teams pull this off. I would love to see that big market club help out those other franchises nearby, like the Giants with the A's, maybe the Dodgers with the Angels and Padres, maybe. Again, I doubt that happens, but just knowing though that even though that baseball has said, yeah, we're game to put all these games on television, if all these deals fall through with Bally Sports and Diamond and Sinclair, part of me though does wonder though, does MLB have enough manpower to get roughly 16 ball clubs who might lose their TV deals locally on their RSNs? They can handle 2 right now with the Padres and Diamondbacks. But can the league handle 14 more franchises? So I think right now Plan B would have to be like this. Plan B is simple. Teams begin looking at local stations. Again, I'm talking like the Suns in Phoenix, the Jazz in Salt Lake City, the Coyotes in the greater Phoenix area, that you begin reaching out to your local media partners, your Fox stations, your NBC affiliates, CBS, ABC, to throw a team a bone. Or Plan C, in my mind, is that all 30 clubs in some way begin forming an alliance like the Red Sox and Pirates are here to keep a team like Pittsburgh on local TV because they don't have the big enough financial backing to keep their deal in place with their RSN. So I think that a lot of the credit, though, here goes to the Red Sox, Fenway Sports Group, and the Penguins for all three of those teams kind of in a way helping out the Pirates. Honestly, it might have to boil down to that pretty soon. Just for the matter at hand that faith and trust is one thing with the front office of any sports league, but I am a little bit reserved, though, that though the league says that we can take over all, these 16 teams who are part of Bally Sports, I would rather that there be an onus on the clubs and a onus on the commissioner's office to, keep that plan in place, though. But if it falls through, then I'm telling my fellow owners, okay, if we can't do this, then it's the onus is on the clubs now to reach out to local media. Again, the Fox affiliate, CBS, NBC, CBS, ABC, what have you. Or you have to find a partner, basically, like the Red Sox and Pirates here, and basically help each other out to keep games on local TV. But I do think that there should be some faith and trust, though, and I know that this may sound very outlandish, but based off of how Rob Manfred and how the league front office was able to seamlessly transition the Padre telecasts and eventually the D-back telecast from Bally Sports Arizona and Bally Sports San Diego to their own run distribution of the games, I believe that they are, in fact, going to be okay going forward when this happens, if it does happen, where you have to resort to drastic measures calling for drastic times, or drastic times call for drastic measures. Where I believe, though, that I would still be in favor of there being a safety net, especially like I said a bit earlier in this block here, the segment meaning, or the earlier part of this segment, regarding the fact like having a plan B, having a plan C, plan X, Y, and Z, they all have to be on the table because who knows what may change or happen over the next several months, because I think that we're waiting to hear more about the bankruptcy case right now with Bally and Diamond and Sinclair in court right now. There has been a whole lot said, sadly, at this rate about what might come out of it. But I applaud John Henry. I applaud the Red Sox. I applaud the Penguins, and I applaud Nesson for, pun not intended, though, but stepping up to the plate, though, and helping out a fellow franchise who does not have the deep pockets of the FSG ownership group to potentially keep their fan base in the loop, though, with game telecasts. And the fact that the Pirates and Penguins got a deal done to become part owners of SN Pittsburgh, that's huge. I know, and I do know for a fact, though, that before the Bally deal ended, I believe the Padres had a 20% ownership, if not 80% ownership, of Bally Sports San Diego. And when the Padres wouldn't be playing like around this time of the year, they basically became the prime ticket, now Bally Sports SoCal, sister station, where, again, the Clippers are shown here locally, the Ducks are shown here locally on television. That even like the Pirates and Penguins team up to buy to become part owner of the station, maybe that becomes plan X, Y, and Z. If you can't get a local deal done with like Fox 5 or KUSI in San Diego, or you can't link up with the Angels to perhaps form some sort of alliance here with Bally, that it may boil down to you have to become part owner of your station. And maybe that could have been a case, or a course case, maybe for the Padres back in May, because at the end, though, it was $50 million that they missed out on from of payroll because local TV wasn't there. But I'm very eager to see how this does in fact work out, though, with the Pirates and Red Sox teaming up to keep the Pirates on local TV in the greater Pittsburgh area. So really, I think that is a very, very good starting point, at least when it boils down to local TV folks. And again, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on the TV issues right now, still plaguing, um, Major League Baseball. Over, folks, in the NFL, on the latest episode of the Awful Announcing Podcast, former NFL VP of officiating and Fox Sports Rules analyst Dean Blandino made some comments on whether legalized sports gambling has affected the job of his brethren in the NFL referee crews. He made the remarks on the Awful Announcing Podcast and mentioned that although he cannot say that it has impacted the referee's job, he has acknowledged that it has increased much scrutiny. Dean explained that the NFL has strict protocols in place for officials, and even before they are hired, a NFL security representative goes door to door in their neighborhood to talk to their neighbors. This practice is still in place to this day, per the story. Dean told AA host Brandon Contes, they look at all your business associations. They look for conflicts of interest, all of that, bank accounts, everything. And there's checks during the season. And so they'll look at if a game official has $10 in their bank account on Friday, then they work a game and now there's $100,000. That's a red flag, right? So you're checking those things. You're monitoring the betting lines and looking at how calls impact those lines. And are there individual officials that are involved in more of those calls? It's a massive, massive undertaking because what the league doesn't mind or doesn't want, and what the league doesn't want and what we never wanted was a situation like what happened with the NBA, right? Open and close quote. This is to avoid a situation similar to the NBA scandal involving a disgraced referee, Tim Donaghy. The FBI investigation uncovered allegations that he bet on games he refereed during his last two seasons and made calls that affected the point spread in those games. And the NFL wants to prevent such incidents from happening, much like what happened in the NBA. Dean further says that it creates more scrutiny. I think it's created more pressure, and that's not going to change. It's only going to increase as we move forward, open and close quote. Brandon then asked Dean if he's ever heard of a NFL official being approached by somebody about trying to impact a score, stat line, or anything like that during the course of a game. Dean did reveal, quote, we've had situations where people were approached. We've always told our game officials because they're in hotels, they're traveling around during the season. We do not want them wearing NFL branded gear. We do not want them to be perhaps becoming suspicious, I should say, because someone sees them and, oh, those are NFL officials, and then you never know. You don't know who you're going to come across, and they know what they're supposed to do, what they're supposed to go to with NFL security if something like that happens, and that has happened in the past. They are not allowed to go if they have to go to their casino, maybe in their other job. There's a speaking engagement. It's a casino. They cannot go in the sports book. They have to let the league know that they're going to be in Las Vegas for this event and are going to be staying at wherever. There's a lot of control and protocol in place, open and close quote. While the NFL's extensive protocols are robust, Dean is also very frank to admit of past approaches, and the ever-evolving nature of gambling makes it clear. The league's battle against officiating corruption remains constant, demanding a continued vigilance and also adaptation. I have loved Dean Blandino for the longest time. Dean was very willing to join a few podcast hosts of ours for interviews in the past on different networks and stuff, and Dean is a very great guy. And also, I'm not surprised, though, but Dean probably has seen a lot, though, when he was the VP of officiating for 4 seasons. That Dean is absolutely right. The NFL does not want to have an NBA officiating situation like Dick Bavetta and Tim Donaghy come up whatsoever. And I do think, though, that the NFL probably, seeing this being laid out here, though, are we at all surprised, though, folks, that there is perhaps some discussion here, at least, that referees have been approached to maybe manipulate the game for the Chiefs or the Bills or the Brady-led Pats at one point in time? Like, are we at all not surprised with how much that wagering and gambling has exploded over the past couple of years? It's become legal in states, not legal out here in California. But honestly, I'm not surprised. I'm absolutely not surprised whatsoever. And hearing Dean actually explain these, that I actually applaud the NFL a lot here for trying to keep their officiating crews private when they're on the road. Don't wear any don't wear any league gear. Don't do this. Don't do that. And I also love the fact too, you have to tell us if you're going to be going to Vegas because of your job and reputation being on the line, though. However, it does concern me a little bit, though. Not about the Raiders being in Vegas or the Super Bowl being there this year. But it is, though, kind of in a way a little bit concerning. Hey, this happened with the NBA already with both Dick Bavetta and also with Tim Donaghy. But also that the NFL security, man, they're on their game. I mean, hearing Dean say that they look at all of the business associations for the officials, conflicts of interest, they look at bank accounts. And I think Dean's right, though. Here a referee could have $10 in their account maybe on Friday. They work a game on Sunday, and they get paid that $100,000 game check. That's a little bit concerning, maybe, that there is something out there that, again, is not being done. Maybe it's a burner account, or maybe it's a referee letting friends wager for them and not putting their name on it. But I do believe, though, that the NFL, at least, though, has their parameters in place, though, to try to avoid having an NBA situation where the officials could become the target of suspicion about calls going a certain way. And that definitely, I think, would make me feel a little bit, not feel safer, but I think would make me feel better, I guess, about the league product, though. And also that Dean even reveals in his podcast with awfulannouncing.com that they have had situations where people were approached, though. Game officials, again, are told because they're in hotels and that they travel during the season, don't wear league-issued gear. Don't be, we don't want them to be coming, like having to watch, where they turn, though, because, the referees are staying here. They're going to go and do something stupid, basically. And also, I love it, though. If you have to go to the casino for a speaking engagement, you can't go to the sports book. I absolutely love that parameter in place, though. Hey, go bet on the roulette wheel. Go play slots. Go play craps. But your ass better be away from that sports book, though. And that, I think, though, is what I would hope, though, that is also in place with other with other leagues. That you can absolutely look at this, the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, MLS. You can look at this right here and right now and put this same style of system in place. Because I believe, folks, that the last thing that any pro sports league wants to have happen, they don't want referees to be known by their name. We know about Dick Bavetta. We know about Joey Crawford and Tim Donaghy. And we know those referees by their name. Scott Foster. That is the last thing that a sports league wants, is that people out there know officials by their names. Don Deakinger, Jim Joyce, Rich Garcia. That's the last thing I think that a sports league wants. And especially now, though, with where sports wagering is right now. And I also think, though, that Dean would not let any of this happen on his watch. For the type of guy that he is, though, when he was the VP for 4 years, though, I'm sure stuff happened, though, but I'm sure that Dean probably was out there saying, hey, are you sure you want to do this? You sure you want to do this? You want to risk your job, risk your pay, going out here and wagering on sporting events? That I do believe, though, that the NFL having this strict protocol in place for the officials, even before they're hired, I absolutely love this system. Mainly for where we're at right now with wagering, as I said. Because, again, the NFL does not want to become the NBA. We don't want to have, Bill Vondanovich become synonymous like Dick Bavetta or Tim Donaghy for fixing a game for the Chiefs or fixing a game for the Bills or anything of that nature. But I love, though, how the NFL is approaching this. And I love that Dean actually went on a podcast and actually talked about this, because that's the last thing that a league like the NFL wants, because this is the biggest media mogul for sports right now, that they don't want to further hurt their reputation when it boils down to officials always being caught in the crosshairs and the limelight of why this team lost, why that team won, why was this penalty called and stuff like that. And I know, though, I think that we're quick, though, to jump to that conclusion. Either the referees favor that team, they favor that player, they favor the quarterback. But also, one does have to think, though, they have to be monitoring the lines. Like, they know where the lines are at, where the spread's at, where the over-under's at, in some way that they know that. Because, again, who's not to say, though, like I said, that the referees maybe go behind the league's back and they have their friends put a wager in at Caesars or at the Excalibur or at the Luxor or at the local sports book somewhere in the neighborhood. I'm sure it's happened, though. But I absolutely applaud the NFL, though, for taking this issue so seriously. Because if this was in place, though, when Pete Rose was playing, maybe the Black Sox back in 1918, or even the NBA playoffs with the Kings and Lakers, I don't think that we'd be knowing referees by their names, like Tim Donaghy, like Dick Bavetta, and stuff like that, though. But also that I think the NFL, folks, has a very great system here. And again, I love and respect Dean Blandino so much for him being so gracious to jump on podcast on different networks I was a part of. But also the fact, though, that he actually laid out what the procedures are for an NFL referee when it boils down, though, to perhaps wagering and gambling being a huge talking point here. But but you know what, though, folks? I would not be surprised, though, if there has been something that has gone on behind the scenes, maybe. Though there may not be telltale signs, though. It's like those memes, though, of like, when I win the lottery, you won't know, but there will be signs. I think there's there's a similar type of thing going on here. Like, yeah, I may not be wagering, but there may be there won't be any signs that I'm wagering. I'm going to get my way around the system one way or another. But again, folks, great insight, but very great insight shown from Dean Blandino, the former 4-year-long NFL VP of officiating between 2013 and 2017. Dean told Brandon Contis of the Awful Announcing podcast, NFL officials have been approached to manipulate games for sports betting reasons. And he says, in part, there's a lot of controls in place, though, with a lot of scrutiny, a lot of security measures in place, though, to ensure that does not happen in the NFL. Because, again, like I said, the NFL does not want to be NBA 2.0 again, where we remember Sean Hockley's name for him potentially wagering on the Chiefs to win the AFC West Division Championship. Finally, folks, today over in college athletics again, a court has ruled on the college athlete transfer rules, but what to make of the ruling? Don't ask the NC2A. This story comes in from Amanda Kristovich of FOS today. The NCAA appears to be walking back one of its key interpretations of Wednesday's court rulings regarding transfer restrictions. As of Wednesday, a federal judge ruled in the court case of the state of Ohio versus the NCAA that the governing body could not enforce its multi-transfer restriction for 2 weeks, part of a temporary restraining order. While the NCAA does allow athletes to transfer once without facing penalty, athletes who transfer multiple times have to sit out at least 1 full year unless they are granted a waiver by the NC2A. Furthermore, on Wednesday, the NCAA also indicated to FOS sources that the athletes would not lose a year of eligibility. Then on Thursday, they backtracked and told FOS it was unsure about whether athletes who play as a result of the ruling would burn a year of eligibility if the ruling is overturned. Several hours later, it reportedly sent out a memo to D1 members confirming that athletes would, in fact, burn a year of eligibility. The case was brought forth, in case you're wondering, last week in the Northern District of West Virginia by state attorney generals in 7 states, arguing that the transfer rules and restrictions violated federal antitrust lawsuits. and based largely on the case of West Virginia basketball player Raekwon Battle. The court said the transfer restriction cannot be enforced till at least December 27th, the date of the next hearing, and that the NC2A affirmed in a statement on Wednesday that it would not enforce the transfer restriction during this time period. Battle himself was therefore eligible to play for the Mountaineers as of Wednesday, but that eligibility promoted another question. What if Battle plays a game or two between now and the 27th of December and the ruling gets reversed? Does that burn his year of eligibility? Also on Wednesday, the NCAA indicated via an email to FOS sources that because of the court's ruling, the governing body could punish an athlete by taking away a year of eligibility, saying in part that the restitution rule was suspended by the court, therefore eligibility would not be impacted, open and close quote. Now, quickly, the restitution rule states that it could penalize athletes, vacate wins or records if a court ruled they were eligible to play, then they played, and then the court changed its mind. So if the Mountaineers win 2 games with Battle this week, they would have to vacate those W's if the court rules differently in 2 weeks' time. But on Thursday, even further, a conflicting report surfaced. The NCAA told FOS it was unclear as to whether athletes would lose that year of eligibility and was still discussing the ruling's implementations, and it did not outright state that athletes would burn a year of eligibility until Thursday afternoon. What a mess. As someone who works in D1 athletics, folks, this has been a very, not really tightrope, but very it's been a very weird talking point amongst inner circle, or circles, I should say, for college athletics, for reasons being that COVID really impacted college athletics, because then everyone that was an athlete got that year back. Then you factor in medical red shirts or red shirting in general their freshman season. That the rise now of 5th and 6th year seniors now is really, I think, gotten out of control. COVID is one ordeal, but at the same time, transferring without penalty is fine. And I know that we are in this new era of college athletics, as I said, folks, here earlier this week and last week. NILs are a thing. For one talking point, name, image, and likeness. And like I said, though, folks, the transfer portal has essentially become de facto free agency. That now I think that the NCAA they're struggling mightily to grapple with the situation. I personally, I've seen a bit of an influx of players transferring to other programs within the last couple of days. Now, I don't know, though, if this is due to the nature of what is being talked about here with this ruling in place. But I think that right now that despite maybe what people out there think, it's almost becoming, folks, now that even in college, you have to do what's best for your career. Even if it involves transferring multiple times and only staying for a year at one school or 2 years and then moving to another program. I don't want this, folks, to sound like, and I also don't want people watching this program to pin all of this on how athletes have changed when it boils down to them being open about mental health crises. The fact I've said about with the realignment going on that they're making or going to make multiple trips out of their home city across time zones in certain sports now. Stop painting that narrative about where college athletics has gone right now with where athletes' mindsets are. Because now with NILs as a factor and de facto free agency with the transfer portal, college student athletes have to do what's right for them in their career athletically, and also if they will succeed academically. And I think that the NCAA, they're having a very hard time right now trying to not really combat this issue, but they're trying, I think, to also talk about or figure out, I should say, what do we do? Because I think even if they kept the whole ruling in place of if you transfer once, that's fine. But twice, 3 times, 4 times, you have to make it stop. And I think that the only problem, though, is that if the rule stays in place to where if you transfer more than one time, you're ruled ineligible for a full year. That more legal issues, so that we have more legal issues pop up, I should say, regarding the nature of more players will sue just because of like either the coach left, the coach got fired, they weren't getting playing time. I know that's a lot of factors out there that probably people nowadays, again, would say, beat out the competition, or you can play for the new coach. That's not where we are right now in 2023 when it boils down to college athletics. I know firsthand a lot of former teammates of mine who did go to a university, and if the coach left, they were moving somewhere else because the coach promised to be there when they got there, and they didn't, and that didn't happen. So I think that we are more so entering a not necessarily like code of ethics issues here, but we are entering an area that will probably see more and more lawsuits being filed by student athletes who want to play. But for the fact that they burned their freebie on the bingo card with transferring, this creates more of a legal nightmare and legal headache for the NCAA. Where I think the iron fist approach now has to, is not sustainable now. Because COVID threw everything for a loop, though, 3 years ago. Because I know a lot of players who were in the spring season of baseball and softball, reading how heartbroken they were that they were in the middle of their year and the season got stopped, and they weren't able to get their senior day, or they weren't able to finish out the season, or they couldn't finish their last year playing their sport because the year had already begun. I think that they being the NCAA, they're facing or would be facing more and more lawsuits. Then you factor in, though, that if the ruling is reversed, though, and if Raquan Battle plays for the Mountaineers and they win a couple of games, those wins get taken off the board. So again, we're going to punish a student athlete who was transferred to a university to better their career in this ever-evolving landscape of NILs and de facto free agency. The fact that he transfers and sues, he's able to play for a week or two and say that they win a couple of games, yet if the ruling goes the other way against the lawsuit, the wins are now null and void. Honestly, at this rate, I say that the transfer rule has to go out the window and out the door. Because, again, these athletes, student athletes, let me reiterate that, student athletes, they now have to basically do what's right for their careers. Whether it's NIL money, whether it's location, whether it's playing time, whether it's coaching, whether it is any factor out there. I just think, though, that the NCAA is denying the inevitable. More and more lawsuits will come if athletes continue to be denied doing what's best for their career. And again, that may be illogical or stupid, but I just think that there's been that this will have a cascading effect. Mainly, I think it'll have a cascading effect more than anything else, especially if Raquan Battle and the Mountaineers win a couple of games next week. And if the ruling goes the other way, those wins come off of the record and they're vacated. It reminds me too much of Reggie Bush losing his Heisman in 2005 or SC having their national title wiped off the board that season. This will only create more smoke and mirrors, and it's only going to create more and more legal headaches and more legal nightmares for the NCAA if they continue to kind of, in a way, keep not an unfair system in place, but a very broken system in place when it boils down to transfers in college athletics. Because you've let NILs become a thing. That's the main thing. Playing is a thing. Coaching is a thing as well. Campus location is another thing. Mental health is also a thing. So there's 5 key points right there. So I personally feel like, though, that if the transfer rule holds up, then you are just creating more of a legal nightmare and mess for yourself. Because more and more, I could just see more and more student athletes suing, more attorney generals getting involved, and that the NCAA is going to have to continue to be fighting off lawsuit after lawsuit because a broken system is in place for the wrong version of college athletics. I'll keep it, and I think that's probably where I'm at right now, is that the transfer system is broken. When you can't allow players to freely move around again because the portal again is basically de facto free agency. And again, I've seen a lot of movement recently, personally, with players who I've seen play at certain colleges who have announced their plans to transfer to play their sport. Whether, again, coaches got fired, coaches aren't there anymore, or, again, having to do what's best for them because we are in a new era of college athletics with a broken system in place when it boils down to letting players transfer and how it affects their eligibility. And also now we can take away victories from a team because a player who transferred, not eligible, they sue, they win, they play a couple of games during a temporary restraining order period of the lawsuit. Then if the rule gets reversed, though, those wins come off the board. So again, let's punish the kids for the millionth time because our system is broken. So I think, folks, right now at this rate, I would probably lean on the transfer rules need to be abolished. We can't keep sacrificing eligibility of players, especially after COVID hit, where we already gave everybody one extra free year to finish off their season in certain sports. Unless you want to keep having more and more 5th year, 6th year, 7th year, 8th year seniors playing because of all the eligibility to play their sport, you're creating more of a mess and more legal nightmares for you with how the system is in place right now. With that, folks, before I wrap up for the day here, I'd be remiss if I did not mention that today here in San Diego is Peter Seidler Day by the San Diego City Declaration today. Again, Peter Seidler, the Padre owner who passed away a month ago today. I did drop in the description box a link to the Peter Seidler Legacy Foundation. If you'd like to donate in Peter's memory to the Padre Foundation, there's all the details are there in the description box. But again, Peter Seidler did so much great things for the Padres, but also for our city with our homeless population and things of that caliber. And Peter Seidler is dearly missed here in San Diego. But with that in mind, though, folks, again, we will, though, bring back the random topic show of Kicking It at 9 o'clock tonight here on C2C with myself, Adam Barber, Isaiah Leung, and the cast and crew. Our next show, folks, that is live is on Monday at 3:30 p.m. on December 18th. And again, folks, we'll have a couple of best of episodes in place of Press Row on December 20th, Christmas Day, the 28th, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day to fill our voids here on Coast to Coast Entertainment over the next couple of weeks or so. But with that, folks, we'll take the rest of the day off. We'll see you back here again on Press Row on Monday afternoon for our last live show for the next couple of weeks, again, due to the holiday and, again, due to the work schedule picking up before the Christmas holiday. We'll see you back here again, folks, Monday afternoon at 3:30 p.m. We'll see you back here as well for Kicking It at 9 o'clock tonight back here on C2C, folks. But with that in mind, Callan McClurg saying good day from San Diego, and we'll see you back here later this evening. And, again, we'll see you back here on Monday on Press Row, 3:30 Pacific Time, 5:30 Central, back here on the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. Till later today, folks, good day and bye-bye.